What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It is another Thursday night, and as always, another episode of a Stoked Podcast. Thank you for again showing up. I always appreciate when I see when people get on and watch, because that's your time, and you could be using your time to do whatever you want to do, but you choose to spend with us. My name is Javon Stokes. I am the owner of Visually Stoked Media, as well as, we don't have a producer today. Chad had a baby, so that's everybody say congratulations to Chad. He had his baby, so he no longer has sleep. So we're gonna celebrate.
You can celebrate that child.
So I am the owner of Visually Stoked Media, as well as the creator and artist behind Heat, my independent comic book. You can all get that at visuallystoked.com, as always. Before we bring in our guest, I have a small you know what, I'm gonna wait until more people get on before I do the announcement. I'm gonna wait till we get a little more eyes, because we only got one person, but we're gonna bring in our guest. I'm sorry
I wanted to
my guest to my left, right, whatever you want to call it. Jamari, as always, welcome. Here we go.
Personal congratulations. The one time I'm giving it to the Boston Celtics for doing.
Hey. Let's go. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown about to put it on people. Game. Like, don't hate, everybody. Don't hate, because I just want to point out, because there are a lot of people that was talking trash to me, that I called it. I said it wasn't going to be a long series. But they're like, no, they got KD and Kyrie, whatever. So, whatever. All right. So it's been a good week, and we got a really good guest coming on. For everybody that just jumped on, feel free to comment in the chat section. We do talk to you when you post. But we have a really good guest coming on. It seemed like everybody's been looking forward to this. So I'm going to bring this person on, because I got a lot of people that are like, oh, man, you going to have her on the show? I'm like, yeah. So here we go. The flowery introduction. Tonight's guest is a longtime friend of mine, all the way back to our HBHS days. That's Hartford Public High School, for that y'all that don't know. Nowadays, with funding her Perfectly Imperfekt LLC, she's advocating for young women of the next generation, as well as fighting against children's sex and human trafficking. A class of 2020 honoree for the 100 Women of Color, she's become an incredible force for women's empowerment. She's created a movement that's gone across the state and beyond, with a powerful message of self-love, self-respect, and self-worth. Let's give a round of applause for the impeccable Taisha Blue. Let's go and give it to her. Bring her in. When I bring people in, I bring people in. Oh, we got good lighting. Hey. She done worked it out. There we go. Yeah, she was looking like a silk R&B video. I was like, you can't see her. That's all right. Welcome.
Can you see me?
Perfect. Welcome. So this once again, I'm really happy to see Taisha. Me and Taisha go back like
back to the pub.
Back to the pub, to walk into the bus stop.
Yeah. Like, you took my picture. You took that picture.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that picture up, because I'm gonna do it now, because I took this picture way back. Because as you can see, she was in her Aaliyah phase.
Yes, I was.
I got another one, but I didn't bring it. I do. Remember, it was because remember, I was like addicted to taking pictures at that time.
Yeah.
I got pictures from everybody, and I always truck them out when people try and say something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to have you here. Actually, you know what? You and I were talking about when the last time we saw each other, but I think one of the last times we saw each other, you were asking me to do either the logo or the website for your Perfectly Imperfekt line.
I think it was the website.
Right.
I think it was both. It was probably both.
Right. So, because I love segues, tell us about Perfectly Imperfekt.
All right. So, what do you want to know? Like the beginning? Like where should I go with this?
You know what? We could start at the beginning. We could absolutely start at the beginning.
Okay, so wow, look at you prepared.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm home ready. I'm serious about this.
Okay, so it was, I would say, like a pivotal moment in my life. I was working as a parent navigator for 211, birth to three. So, birth to three, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's a program that offers assistance to families that have children that either have physical disabilities or educational delays. So, they have parent navigators that go into the home that specializes in different things. So, they had like a physical therapist, they had like a teacher, they had like someone that specializes in whatever that child has a disability with or delay in. So I was more like educational. So I would go into the homes and work with children birth to three that were not able to, like, it was behavioral as well. So a lot of those kids were not able to go to school.
Okay.
So they had to be homeschooled. So in addition to homeschooling, they had us come into the home and work with the families to help better their child to be able to go into schools.
Okay.
So I did that for a while. And I got to see like the other side of things, like what DCF and experiencing just how detrimental it was to the kids not having access to the smallest things you would think, like just even food,
Really?
heat, hot water, and stuff like that. So that also added to the struggle for most of the single parents. So on top of the child having this disability or this delay, they're struggling to have food in the house. They're struggling to keep their house clean. So I had to, as you know, deal with that as well. And sometimes I would be uncomfortable because it was just, some of the homes were just really like filthy, to be blunt, just very filthy. So it's hard to try to, teach a child certain things, and I'm in an environment that's not even clean, but they're used to that. But for me, and where I'm going with this is that I did that for a while. It was good money, but it was something that was missing. It still was like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? So I did it for a while. I did it for maybe a couple years, and I got to the point and I couldn't take it anymore. And I honestly was struggling like every morning to get up to go to work. And I was like, do I want to do this? I'm like, do I want to quit this job and have no money, or do I want to stay at a job that I'm making money at, but I'm not happy, and eventually it's going to be a disservice to myself and most importantly to the children. And I didn't want to do that.
That's a tough conversation. Trust me. I done had that conversation at least two or three times in my life. Go ahead.
So I was like, it's not fair, first of all, to these children that, don't really know what's going on. They're not fully aware of why they're challenged, whether it's physically or mentally. So I had a conversation with my supervisor, and she actually told me that she was proud of me because I came to her and I didn't just put in 2 weeks or just leave. I actually had a conversation with her and I explained to her that it wasn't a passion. This wasn't a passion of mine. I was honestly doing it for the money, and it was becoming a disservice because I was just doing it. It was nothing behind it.
Right.
And the ironic part of all of this is literally, this is something I'll never forget, and this is why I say it was a pivotal moment for me. I had been trying to get into the state for a long time prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working these jobs, just applying. Literally my last day, I'm about to tear up, but literally my last day, I was,
That's all right. That's okay.
It's a pivotal moment. My last day, I was checking my email. I had returned my keys to my supervisor, and I had received the email from the state of Connecticut. And it was the lady from HR offering me the position my last
Amen.
day.
Oh, hey, listen, that's how God works.
And I was
Mhm.
like, I have to, and with that being said, the message in that is that sometimes you have to walk out on faith. It sounds cliche because a lot of people say that and they don't really know what it means. But literally, I walked out on faith. Like, I really didn't know. I mean, I had money saved up, but I really had nothing else. Like, I was
Right.
like, I can't do this anymore. And I email, and literally my last day, I had, like I said, I gave her my keys to my office, said my goodbyes, and that was one of the
Wow.
emails that I had. And from from that journey, from that whole situation, um, I started the state. I went through the whole academy thing, and I started working at Hartford Detention on Broad Street in Hartford.
Okay.
And I that was a whole different experience. And I already had the passion to work with youth. So that job definitely like put me in a position to be where I am today,
Okay.
literally. So I started that job. Um, it was primarily it was girls. The unit that I worked on was primarily girls, but Harvard Detention houses girls and boys. So I was able to work with both population, but I primarily was housed with the girls. So I learned about like all these different trainings that at the time I was considered a juvenile detention officer.
Hmm.
We rarely are offered to do trainings. Is really like the counselors that they offer the trainings to. They pay for the trainings for them to, obviously help the youth better.
Right.
We're just pretty much custody. You know what I mean? Like we're not there to do the mental health part of things. So I took it upon myself to have a conversation with who will be considered like a deputy warden in detention. Her
Hmm.
name's Cecily. I'll never forget Cecily. And Cecily, me and her had a conversation, and I told her what I was trying to do. I told her I had a passion to work with youth, and what I wanted to do with that. And she said that, like she said, I've been watching you. I see how you work with these girls, and she took it upon herself. I mean, she didn't pay for it out of her pocket, but she put me in the training. The training was like $500. It was like a 3-day training at Central, and she paid for it for me to go. So
Okay.
from that point, I got certified, which is called Girl Circle.
Okay.
Um, and that's where the Girl Circle thing comes from. It originally originated from California. That's where the One Circle Foundation is from, California. So they
Okay.
have trainers that come out and they go wherever you need them to go and they train the staff. So this training was a little bit more intimate. It was maybe 15 of us from different facilities, and I just happened to be the one from Hartford Detention
Okay.
at that time. So, like I said, it was 3 days. I did the training. I got certified in the training, and then from there, um, you have to buy like the curriculum. So it's not just like one book, obviously. It's like 30 books,
Hmm.
and they're expensive. So you have to like either if you have the money or you can buy them at your leisure. I had someone else that was like um, a higher up, and she had like all of the books. So, like during my downtime, she allowed me to make copies of all the binders.
That was nice of her.
She provided me with that, and one of them actually, they in the training they gave us for free. They gave us one for the facilitator, and then they provided us just one like random binder that had to do
Hmm.
with self-esteem. But she allowed me to make copies of all of the binders, all of like it was like 1 through 20 something, in my downtime, I made copies. I had binders, and I made my own binders of, a replica of what she had. And with that, um, I learned that with the training being certified, you can take that outside of work. So I said, oh, okay. So I had to think about how I was going to do this. So I ended up getting into the school systems. I had a connection with the school system, and I started working at Martin Luther King. And
Okay.
I told them that I didn't want any money. I said I don't want I want you guys to see my work first. I said, I'm not expecting any money right now because the money will come. I said, but I want to, because I'm still like, I just got trained and this would
Right.
be like my first go around. So I wasn't expecting the money because I really just wanted to see how this would plan out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. You're trying to establish yourself.
I'm trying to establish myself.
Right.
So they said, okay. So for my first year, I didn't get paid to do groups. And then they seen the work, they seen how effective Girl Circle was. And from there on, they put me on payroll. And from there, I started doing my groups at Martin Luther King, what is it? MD Fox, the Village, and so forth. And that's how, honestly, that I got started, and it just took off
Jamari,
from
these
there.
are all schools, by the way, because
I
Jamari's
figured that.
Okay.
Jamari's from Georgia. He's
Oh, I didn't know.
What's even more interesting is I worked in a youth detention center too.
Okay. So you know.
So some of this stuff that you're talking, I don't know if they had training when because I did the same kind of work you were doing, but I don't know if they ever had the training where you could shift off like that. So that's very interesting to me to hear that, and seeing how you're doing this kind of work here. So that's like I'm just kind of absorbing your story right now. So
Thank
this
you.
is all.
So you had to be certified. You had to be certified to do any of this stuff, to basically
Yes.
work within the schools. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say to work in the schools, but to specifically to do the Girl Circle, yeah, you have to be certified to run that because they want to see like, okay, where are you getting this from? Like, where are you getting these numbers from? You know what I mean? So it was that you definitely had to be.
And so
you had
took.
to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jamar.
So so let me see if I can make sure I get this straight. So you went in, you showed them I guess I'm saying you pitched them what you have in your certification and the background of the program, and they allowed you to come in with it on a trial basis. And then once they saw the effectiveness, then they decided then they gave you payroll. That is great. That shows a lot of initiative on your end, and
Thank
to
you.
see that because you took this thing and you had it in one space and you managed to move it in, show, and then get to show and prove and then create your own space. That's very, very good.
Thank you.
I mean, one of the beautiful things about Facebook is like if somebody posts enough stuff, you can almost like follow and see, the beginning to where, and follow their success. And you post a lot of stuff about, Perfectly Imperfekt. So it's like I took joy in watching, because I remember you talking to me about it, when we were talking about your website, and I was like, man, this is a great idea. And like and that couldn't be more than like, what was it, 3 years ago?
It was 2000 when I when I established the LLC. It was 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was that long ago.
Ago.
I mean, I mean, I have a pretty good memory for remembering like where I was, but I remember I think it was like at a restaurant. No, it was like not even a restaurant. It was like at the mall or something. Like like we had like lunch or like it was somewhere like a Panera Bread or something. But I remember
like I think it was Panera.
Yeah, I used to do because I used to live near the turnpike. So like if I needed to like have a meeting with somebody, I go to Panera Bread.
Right
it was
there.
like right there. Yeah. And I don't even really eat a lot of Panera Bread, but they had a nice place. But yeah, like I mean, obviously, like I'm super proud of what you've created and what you've accomplished. So where'd the name come from?
So the name came from a relationship. A relationship that I was in actually. I think at that point, the ending of it, I started feeling like a bunch of things, just a bunch of emotions I was feeling, and I think something like came to me. It's gonna sound crazy, but I was watching a commercial, and the commercial went off and the TV kind of flashed and it went dark. And it was just like what I seen on the screen, it was like a silhouette. All I remember is seeing like a silhouette of a mirror of a face. It and the face it was just a face, like a black and white silhouette. The commercial flashed, and at the time what I was going through, I just was like, my self-esteem was like very low. Like I was confused. I didn't know like what I was doing. And the word perfectly imperfect came to me. And I'm like, I'm very flawed. I was young, I was naive, and I had my flaws, but I knew that me coming up out of everything I was already going through, that relationship, work, and everything else that was in my life, I said, regardless of what I'm going through, yes, I am imperfect, but that's perfectly fine. Like everyone has their flaws, and that's what makes a person who they are. No one's perfect. God made us all flawed. And I think that's like how I put it together. And initially, I don't know if you remember my initial logo. Like,
I think I do. I
it
think you
was
showed
it
it to
was a
me
mirror.
beforehand. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was a mirror, and it had a silhouette of a face.
Yep,
And
yep.
that's where that came from
Okay.
that moment. But when I started thinking of how I wanted to present my logo and the name, I went and got me like 3 t-shirts. I'm actually one of my first cousins. She was one of the first persons to wear it. I literally just got the word perfectly imperfect printed on it. I didn't know what I was doing with it. I just like, I gotta get this out. I was just
Right.
so excited that this came to me. You know what I mean? Like literally. And then I ended up getting another shirt printed. You know how like Polo has like their polo on the corner.
Right.
So I got another shirt made and it said perfectly imperfect, but it was very small. And it
Right.
was like, it sat right here. I was like, that's gonna be my brand. I copied like the polo thing, so I made it like a very small brand. But my cousin, she wore it. She got it cut up. She wore it like fashionably with some jeans, and she just would wear my t-shirt. People would be like, "What's that? I like that. Like, what does that mean?" And then that's kind of how like the name kind of got out, like perfectly imperfect.
There you
It was
go.
like catchy.
There
You know
you
what I mean?
go.
So that's how that became about with the logo and stuff. Like literally, it flashed before my eyes, and I said, I don't know what this means, but this silhouette and this name has to go on a shirt.
Just ride with it. Just ride with it.
And I wrote with it. Yeah, So,
But now, so you were in a relationship, and you
yeah.
say that it was affecting your self-esteem, but it's nice that you kind of flipped it, and now
Yes.
you are talking with young women. Like every time I look on your Facebook page, you got another group of young women that you're out here working to empower
Aw,
them in their self-esteem. And I do my homework. So we
thank
got
you.
a whole bunch of other pictures of all these young women whose lives you've impacted.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I remember that day, like yesterday.
So tell us about tell us about like, what do you do with these young women when you have I don't know if what would you call them, workshop sessions? Like, what would you call it?
I call them groups.
Okay.
So what it looks like. So I establish. In the schools, I establish, like with the teachers, the principal, who their target population is. It's primarily girls, but usually it's the girls that are bullies, the ones that they can't handle per se, I guess. But it's usually the ones that give the teachers a very hard time. That they usually are like, okay, we want to put this many girls in your group, and I ask them, okay, so what is it exactly that you feel like as a teacher, or depending if it's not at school, if it's like if I'm dealing with parents directly, I'll ask them, what is it specifically that you want to work on? what you think they should work on. And it's not something that I really discuss with the child. I just target certain things in amongst all of the girls, and I know what I'm working on. I know, okay, with this girl, I'm gonna focus more on certain things when I talk to her. You know what I mean? So each girl kind of has their own plan, but as a group, we collectively are focusing on self-esteem and what that looks like. You know what I mean? So it could be hygiene, it could be different things. So each girl would still get their own little piece of me, but collectively we're still focusing on self-esteem and what that looks like. So I'll go into the school, sit down with the teacher, the principal, and they'll give me a list of girls, how old they are, what grade they're in, kind of I learned that, like, I used to mix the girls, like I'll have like a senior, a freshman. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. No, because the 17 and 18-year-olds have a whole different mindset than 10 and 11-year-old. Although
the camera's drifting away from you.
Can you see me?
You gotta get you a stand, girl. You gotta get you a stand and a ring and everything.
Savvy like that.
I'm trying to figure out why you don't have your own podcast. You should be out there.
But that's what I feel like you were already made for it.
Seriously, like you should have your own podcast talking about women's empowerment.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Sounds like it's ready made for that kind of thing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I can see how, like, having the different ages might clash, because you can't really be comfortable.
That you primarily use
9 to 18.
Oh, okay. That's it. Wow,
so you're elementary all the way up to high school.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So in high school, I was like trying to diversify it, like, okay, but the older girls were not as open to talk about certain things, and then the younger girls felt like they were being judged because they were immature to the 18-year-olds. So I said, okay, I'm gonna like have, just like 9, 10, 11, 12, and then like 13, 16, 17, 18. You know what I mean? Like, I had to figure out how I was gonna do that because it just wasn't working. So we figured that out. So the teachers would give me a list of who they wanted in the group, and then I would meet with these girls. We would have like our first group would be like an orientation and kind of go over like expectations. Like what we talk about in group, it stays in group, and that really was to allow the girls to feel protected and like someone had their back. Because if you violate in this group, I don't care how old you are, like we're talking about expectations right now today. So if today I tell you what we talk about in group stays in group, and if someone shares something about anything that goes on in the home or something that happened to them, and the next day the whole school knows or your classmate knows, I know who to go to, and you're out. And I had no tolerance for that, and they knew that. So I really didn't have any issues with that as far as the girls talking about other girls' situations. And that was another thing, confidence, and you have to build that up, and you trust. You want these girls to feel like they could trust you, and how are they going to trust me if I'm allowing someone else to go and the same thing that's happening to them outside of this classroom? They're being bullied, people are telling their business, and then here I am, this person asking you to trust me, but I'm allowing someone to break your trust.
Right.
How are you going to trust me? So I had to make sure that I built that up and made them feel confident and trusting me, and being able to talk about intimate things, and a lot of things that went on in the home broke my heart. It broke my heart, but even the parents knew. Obviously I'm a mandated reporter. First of all, I'm a parent, but I let the parents know, like, if a girl tells me she has a crush on a boy, if one of the girls told me she kissed a boy, I can't relay that to the parent.
Right.
But if someone tells me that they were sexually
There's
assaulted, or
abuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have, and the girls know that I have to report that. So if you tell me that, that's not something that, first of all, I'm not comfortable even keeping to myself as a parent, as a mother. But that's just something that I have to do. So, a lot of times, I did have situations where some of the girls, shared things with me, not necessarily sometimes about themselves, but sometimes mostly about their friends, that like the sexting, and how um some of their friends might have um refused to do certain things to boys because they did it to another boy and they wouldn't do it to them, and so somehow a nude picture or something got on the internet.
Wow.
So they will come to me about stuff like that, or just how they should handle certain situations in confident, and it was some intense stuff. And I'm talking about 9 and 10 year olds, like not even teenagers, So I could see how these teachers felt like they seen some promiscuous behaviors, and I seen it as well. And
Wow.
so um those are the things that I like to target, because what makes you feel like at 9 years old that you feel like you should be giving your body to somebody?
Right.
What is, like, what's going on here?
How
So
Yeah.
difficult? How
Go ahead,
difficult
Jamar.
do you find? How difficult do you find it to um, gain that trust, especially with the girls that go through a lot of the things that you're dealing with? I have a picture of some of the types that you have run into, and I would imagine on one end, some of these girls would absolutely love to have someone like you come in, but then there's got to be some that are very resistant at the same time.
oh yes, I've had so the girls that are resistant, I love it, because it's like a challenge for me, like, because everyone has their advice with things like, oh, um I don't know, I have my way of opening these girls up. So um what works for me, my challenge is like, okay, you have these girls that really have behavioral problems, and you could tell, like, outside of school they run their home, or they're just like really out there. What worked for me is
Excuse
having a conversation. I would provide journals, something like this, just like a journal,
Mm-hmm.
and I would provide
Please
each
tell me
girl.
you have those branded with your logo.
I was gonna say, like, that's come on now.
I don't,
Come
not
on
yet.
now.
I don't,
We just
but
we just
I,
That
giving
was
you
that
ideas.
was
We
for
just we
free.
just we just throwing darts at you
That
for
was for
ideas.
free.
Come on now.
I'm actually, I am working on a self-esteem journal through Amazon.
Well,
I got bumped out so many times, because, sorry guys, hold on. I got bumped out so many times because of my margins. Like, it's like minute stuff, but that I'm actually coming out with a journal. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks. But I'll keep you posted with that.
All right. We
Um,
we, we always we
I
always
am.
repost stuff from
hmm
people who are on our show. Never fails.
So I will provide each girl with a journal, and that would be it. So if there were certain things that we talked about, the girls would have their arms folded, just have this look on their face like, that's not me. I don't know why she even talking about that. So, I would say, if you don't feel comfortable talking about what we're talking about in class, use your journal. If you have a question you want to ask me, how I handled it, write it down, and this is how we'll communicate, as well as
Oh,
in
nice.
class. So I got a lot of those girls that would write me questions in their journal. I would take them home, and I would answer the journal and give them back to them the next time I seen them. And we would communicate that way. And slowly they would start to verbalize things in group, not just in their journal. And
Okay.
that's how I gained their trust, because that
Nice.
that journal was between me and them. It was never shared with any of the other girls. And I would ask them, is it okay to discuss your scenario and how these girls would handle it, just so they could have that support from their own age group, not just an adult.
Okay.
And I would never use names. I would never look at the person or even in their direction when I was talking about the situation. And so slowly, 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 I built up their trust that way.
See, this is why I can't work with kids because I can't hide my face, like
Yeah.
my feelings are on my face. So if I
And
can't
mine
hide
are too, but
because I'd be
I don't
like,
know.
well, Latoya over here. Oops. I can't do it. Like
Mm-hmm.
me and Jamari have had conversations before in the past about, teaching because Jamari is a teacher. I will do like workshops, like talking with kids about comic books and how to make comic books.
Right.
That's about as far as I'll go.
That's
Cause
therapeutic, though. Very therapeutic.
I mean, that's fine. Like, I appreciate it because I don't mind doing it because, like, they want to be there. But,
Right.
like, if I got to deal with kids that don't want to be there, it's
Yes.
a whole different world, Like, it's like
Yes.
a brick wall is up, when you're dealing with kids that have they have no idea, they have no desire to be where they are, and you're trying to reach them. So to hear you, with your techniques on how to break them down,
Yeah.
the walls, I should say. To me, that I think that's fascinating because I would have never thought about it that way.
I had to figure out something because I'm like, how am I going to get these girls to talk? Like I'm trying to talk to them. They're just like rolling their eyes or breathing heavy. And it's like,
Sucking their teeth
mm,
and giving you
all of that.
looks,
Do you use
mumbling
stuff
under their
for your
breath.
daughter, like the stuff that the techniques that you use for them? Do you try them where they try it out on your daughter first?
No, she knows it. She's aware of it because she used to come to some of the groups with me. So she's like, Mom, don't try to use that on me. So I gotta just, I gotta be like a mom
Oh, okay,
with
okay.
her. So like,
So you say your
that's different.
daughter came with you. What
Hmm.
support system do you have with your entire endeavor? Like outside of working with the kids, like
Hmm.
who helps you?
Um, Honestly, I don't have a team. Like I have friends that support me. I have family that definitely support me in what I do, as far as like when I have events, if I need help setting up and stuff like that. But I don't have a team, and I'm gonna tell you why. Um, it's been tough. Like both of you, like you teach, you know what I mean. Like you both are teachers in some sort of way, and when you have a passion to do when you have a passion to do certain things, you have to have people around you that you trust. And I'm not saying I don't have people around me that I don't trust, but when it comes to my brand, it's totally different than having a close friend or a family member on
Right.
my team because I know you or because I love you. Like this is my brand. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I just haven't had um the team consistently that I need to be able to just be like, I'm gonna let you run this when I can't do this. I'm gonna let you do this when I
Right,
can't.
right.
I've had people like family members step up and do stuff for me. I'm so grateful for that. But I don't have them here consistently. So I I'm not just gonna go to anybody and ask them to take over something that I know they're not passionate about. It's just something they're helping me with. So
Right.
that's been one of my biggest struggles, just having somebody around me, like on my team that I trust to kind of just give give to them and take care of when I'm not able to. So I've been pretty much just doing everything by myself in that aspect. And it's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
that's
I can
It's
relate.
tough.
I can relate. This thing that I've been building too. Like I can relate because visually stoked media and all
Right.
these things that I'm doing. I do most of it by myself, and even Jamari knows how hard I struggle to bring other people in because just like I work with a certain amount of passion, and
Yep.
like I've talked to my wife about this, and I've said, like if the person that I bring in doesn't work with that same amount of passion, I will get frustrated because I'm like, well, I'm working this hard with this passion. Why aren't you? And I believe she said it, and a few other people have also said it. They're like, well, you got to understand, this is your passion. It's
Right.
your passion. It
I was gonna
doesn't
say that.
necessarily need to be their
Their
passion.
passion.
You just need
Right.
them to do their job.
Exactly.
So
And
that's
do it.
something I struggle. Yeah,
That's the thing.
it's a
Do their
struggle,
job.
man.
I get that. Like,
have you run across anybody that you think that might have been possible for you to cultivate into a role? Because it sounds like you clearly have an ambition and you're able to follow through on a lot of things and you're willing to take on a lot of stuff. That's it. It's plainly obvious. But it also sounds like you're at this point now where you need to have someone that you can cultivate into very specific roles, one or two people, because as much as you seem to be doing and the effectiveness of it, for you to continue to grow, you clearly are gonna need some more people, either certified as you are, and or able to do other roles that take you out of doing certain things and allowing you to focus either more on your groups or expanding out, because it sounds like you're doing wonderful work, but it's like I'm excited hearing about it.
thank you. So I recently just started like an accountability group, and everybody in that group is an asset to each other. Everyone has something. Like, someone knows how to do grants. Somebody knows how to do promotions. So I've been utilizing those people in my accountability group and just learning like how to utilize that, and slowly let that go. And obviously, like, I know how to crop a picture and share it, but I'm not a promoter. I don't know the ins and outs of like really getting things out there. She does.
Okay.
You know, I'm not a journal writer, but I know someone that's written over 100 books and journals. So, they're like pivotal in my life now. You know what I mean? So I'm learning how to utilize resources, and people that are around me that have passion in what they do and are passionate about seeing each other, all of us, be successful in what we're doing, and that means a lot to me. So I've, I'm taking advantage of that. As far as when you asked me, Jamari, have I had people? What was it exactly around me that?
Like certified people, like people who
Yeah,
you're looking to.
So for example, I'm imagining, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that you are having to make appointments. You are having to go in and set up these groups that you have to go through with these groups, and you are your own secretary. You are your own promoter. You are going across the board and doing all of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so is there a way, or have you run into? And it sounds like the accountability group is definitely a good asset and resource. But just like
Definitely.
you said, have you been able to cultivate anybody that you can potentially hire or put into a role where they can take over that promotional aspect and they can do they can put the word out while you are able to concentrate on this thing. So it's like one thing off your plate and one or two things here that this person is handling and they are handling this aspect, or you having someone able to come in and get certified to do similar work as you so that you can reach more people through that same work. Because like I said, you took that training and you ran with it and expanded it. So
Thank you.
That's a good question.
I actually, so currently, I probably could train somebody or have somebody. I mean, I'd even pay for the person to get trained, to be honest. At one point, I did have somebody. When I was working at one of the schools, I had my first Perfectly Imperfekt graduation, and it was for girls and boys. They had a certificate. I gotta just
Nice.
post some pictures of that. But
Okay.
they had a certificate. They went through the class. It was really nice. The principal was involved. Took pictures. I had somebody that's actually certified in Girls Circle, and I kind of like just threw her the reins, and she kind of just she did her thing with that. I had minimal involvement, like just little things that, like she asked me if it was okay to do, and I'm like, girl, do it. I'm so thankful for her, Kyra. Her name's Kyra.
Hi,
Kyra Brown.
Kyra. Thank you, Kyra.
Um, but over the years, I think she kind of ventured off from what she was doing and got into something else in her career. No longer like working with that population. So kind of lost that. And I haven't had anybody since, really understand the background of the Girl Circle, because clearly, like she was certified, she went through the training, she knew it from
Right.
page 1 to page 30.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So that's what I need for someone that like that. So I'd be willing to invest in someone that I know that, like we both said, no one's going to be as passionate about what you're
Of
doing
course.
as you. But if I could have an individual that I knew was passionate about um, working with kids and seeing them be successful in whatever it is, just being passionate about seeing a child succeed, I'd be willing to invest in them to help us. That
Okay.
makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Um,
No, it makes
and
perfect sense. Makes
and I
absolute
do have
perfect sense.
people. I have people around me that I don't. I wouldn't say I personally know, but that I'd be willing to reach out because I see something in them that I know they would be an asset um to what I'm doing. So I'm in the process of that. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a
I
lot.
can we can
Yes, it is.
understand. I mean, being a one
I
man
do.
band is it's a road that many people don't understand
Right.
or want to travel down because of the amount of responsibility, and I'm sure there's like a weight. I don't know, you
Mm-hmm.
don't. There's a weight on you because it's
Yes.
almost like if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. But we hope that you do have you do find that person or those people that can help you
Yeah.
grow perfectly imperfect, because we want it to be bigger and we want it to touch individuals further than the extent of your reach, because
Yeah.
you know the talking about women's empowerment, and especially for young ladies. I mean, I have two I have twin stepdaughters, and I always joke to my wife that she's a feminist. I say it all the time. Like I call her a feminist all the time.
Right.
Every time we watch a TV show, if there's a strong woman in there, especially if it's a strong black woman in there, it's like our favorite show. Like, all right, that's my favorite person.
Just
And I don't,
because.
right, just because like we
Because, yeah.
watch, she loved Game of Thrones for
Mm.
uh
Miss Sandy?
uh
No.
no, the
Mm,
dragon queen,
uh, Khaleesi.
Khaleesi. She loved Khaleesi. So when you talk about women empowerment, um obviously most women are for it, but like what
Right.
really fuels you um to push for equality for women in everything, and just basically the understanding that women, you can be strong too. Like, what pushes you, what
um,
motivates you to do it to a level that other women aren't doing it?
I think what initially pushed me is just seeing how women, especially black women, how we beat each other up. You know, this is like it's a sticky topic, but just seeing how black women we don't we don't support each other enough. Um, Everything's a competition. I
Yeah.
mean, we could talk about that for days. But even like this from your complexion to your career to your car, everything's a competition. And I think at the end of the day, none of that matters. None of that matters. It's like, who are you as a person? Like, what do you want for yourself? And if you can find another woman that wants to see you successful, regardless of what you have or what you don't have, that's all that matters. Like, we can come together collectively. We all have the same end goal, and that's to be successful, regardless of what it is. You want to be a garbage woman. You want to whatever. How can I help you get there?
Okay.
And I think that's what fuels me, is just like, okay, why do you feel like you have to bash another woman because of her success? You could be successful too. You just have to put the work in, and I don't think enough of us we don't do that enough. It's almost like women empowerment has become a cliche just to say it.
Okay.
Like, what do you really stand for?
Right.
Do you really stand for women empowerment, or are you just saying that because it sounds good?
Right.
What are you doing to help your sister? What are you doing to help this person over here to become successful? Because either you're going to help her or you're not. And if you're
Right.
not, move out the way, because someone else will. And so I'm very passionate about that, like, especially Black women. I'm a Black woman, you know what I mean? I have, I come from a whole different background, but I'm a Black woman at the end of the day. I relate to Black women, and I think that there's just not enough of us that are collectively holding each other up.
Okay.
So I want to be one of those
Awesome.
that do that.
So, Jamari, I was going to give it to you, but I have a question. So there's always talk about like being allies, right? If what would you say to, and I'm gonna say specifically to Black men, because we are Black men here. First and foremost, we should be taking care of our sisters. What would you say? What would you suggest? What would you say to to your Black men to help women empower Black women more? Like, how, if you could tell us anything, like, this is what you can do to help the women empowerment movement. Anything you want.
Let it go. Let me know. No, so let me know.
Oh, you don't know?
I'm saying I want to hear from him. Let me know.
Oh, no, I'm asking you. I'm saying,
Okay.
what would you tell us Black men?
What can they do to support us?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wow. I know what, I had a conversation with someone about this. I think I've heard a lot of women say that a lot of men like compare them to other races and what other races do and don't do, and how a lot of women, Black women, are angry for whatever reason. But I think Black men, in that aspect could be a little bit more supportive, and then, you know what, I kind of have to be the devil's advocate with this, because I have seen it, you know what I mean? I've seen where men have tried to calmly talk to women about their behaviors and why people call them or call us angry Black women.
That might be one of the first times I've ever heard that, but I'm just gonna keep.
Because I'm a realist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
That's fine.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat. Like I'm a black woman, and I've seen it, and I've seen situations where I've seen men try to calmly talk to women, and it's just some of us are ignorant. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Some of us are ignorant. But I think if men just don't give up on us, you know, for the women that really are trying and may be dealing with some deep rooted traumas, they probably really do need help. And I think just letting them know that, like, you're gonna always root for them, you're there for them, like, don't just completely like, oh well, she's doing this, like, just walking away and giving up on us. I think that's what a lot of women fear, is that our men, our brothers are like just giving up on us and comparing us to other women, and just completely just like, black women are angry, they don't want help, they don't want us to help them, and that's not true. Just, like, just being supportive, and just like I said, just not giving up on us
Okay.
completely.
So patience. You want patience.
Being patient, yeah.
Okay. All right. As a black man, I can say that, patience is tough for just men in general. Like, because men aren't really patient with other men. Like, if I'm being honest, like, I could be real impatient with my friends. Like, I'd be like, hey man, because I can't really speak for every man, so I'm not going to speak for every man. But I know, like, for me, like, I don't really look to another man to be patient with me, right?
Another man, right?
Right. Like, I don't look for a man to be patient with me, so I'm not necessarily patient with him. Like, if Jamari gets on my nerves, like, Jamari's gotten on my nerves, and I'm gonna just walk away. Like, I'm not gonna deal with this crap. Like, I'm not gonna necessarily be patient with him. Now, I might come back to it after the fact and talk with him, but in that particular moment in time, it's just like we don't really necessarily deal with patience like that. So I can see how a lot of men in general just don't lack the skills to be patient.
Let me ask you this.
In general.
I'd agree with that.
Let me ask you a question. So
okay,
let me kind of.
It's a safe space.
Put a scenario.
Don't get me
there.
canceled, though. Don't get me canceled.
Of course not. No.
Don't get me canceled.
Never.
Don't get me in trouble.
No.
We just got double-digit episodes. Come on.
No, we just hit 13. We be done now.
Oh,
Go ahead.
All right. So say if this tends to be a sore subject in relationships, but say if you had a career, you lost your job, right? And your woman was now like the breadwinner, so to speak, right? And you kept saying, baby, like, I'm trying, but no one's hiring you, right? But you're trying, you're out there every day, you're going to these job interviews, you're filling out job applications, but no one's hiring you. And your wife is like, all right, it's tough, kids or no kids, whatever, but I'm holding down the fort. I'm the breadwinner. I wouldn't say throwing this in your face, but she's making it clear, like, I'm the one that's now running this household, and you're still trying. What would you expect from her to be to you? What do you want her to be for you? So, even though.
Go ahead, Jamari. I'll go after you.
So I think the deal with that, and why that tends to be a problem, is exactly the thing you brought in the back, where it becomes I now have to let you know that I am making the money, or I'm being the prime income winner. And I know people who that actually is a course where the woman makes more than the man. Here's what I know about both situations. They would not work if that was the case, where the woman is constantly bringing that up in the relationship. Now, it's one because they have the roles that they have in their relationship because it works with their dynamic. And money is more of, we get things taken care of together. whether that means the man now is the one primarily dealing with children, or there are different roles and different things that they are taking up with the situation. That may be the case. The dynamic may have to shift, at least in terms of how they get along. But ultimately, a man's got to be a man, a woman's got to be a woman. And anytime I've ever seen it actually work, it's because that people allow their partners to be themselves without throwing it in their face.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was hoping to come out of this. So when you asked me what do women expect from men to feel like they could be empowered and successful, that's exactly what that feels like.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
Okay.
Okay.
That's where I was going with that.
All right.
Girl, okay.
So
when you know what I mean? A woman constantly being told, you're angry, you're this, you're that. But a woman is trying, she's doing this, she's going through this to I wouldn't say fix herself, but to heal herself. Don't give up on her. Yeah, she's not giving up on you.
There's always the myth that, you know, and I'm using the word myth. I want to make sure people hear me. I'm using the word myth that white women are more docile or Asians are more docile or whatever, and black women are uppity, and there's always those myths. In the scenario that you put forth, I think for me, well, number one, there is no like there's no nothing, no one's hiring, right? For me, like if I was in the situation, like if I gotta go work at McDonald's for a little bit just to bring in some money, like if I gotta work 2-3 jobs, like until I get back to where I was, like I've worked 2 or 3 jobs. Like I ain't afraid to work. Like I'm not afraid to, to do that. But in that scenario, I do think I agree with Jamari. As a man, you have to kind of pick up the slack somewhere else, right? So if you're not bringing any income and she's out making the money and she's the breadwinner, even if it's a temporary shift where, okay, well, you need to make sure that the kids are taken care of, or, cook or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
But I also personally, my personal philosophy, and I've said this to people, and some people agree and some people disagree. But I think because of the world we live in that I know a lot of people want like the traditional, the male makes the majority of the money and takes care of everything. And the woman job is to take care of the home and everything. I don't know if that's feasible anymore, because the society that we live in is so expensive.
Yeah.
It's so expensive just to live. It's, somebody posted something about how much rent was in like New York. And it was just like, right. It was more than 3. It was like 6.
Oh, no, way
like
more.
6 grand. Yeah, it was like 6,000-8,000.
I mean, for a studio, it's like.
Yeah, it's like some ridiculous amount of money.
That's here in Atlanta now. In Atlanta, that's going to be 3. That's going to be 3 grand.
Right. So my philosophy about that is the roles and the level of respect that people are due within the relationship should not be tied to money.
Respect, right?
Right. Like, if you're the husband, I'm going to treat you as the husband and give you the same value as if you're making $0 and making $100K. And same with the wife. And the reason why I say this is because everything in life is fragile, right? Like you could be making $100K one day and then lose your job the next.
Absolutely.
Like you could have a great job and, you lose your arms in a accident. And then, so if you tie how much money, if you tie a financial value to the respect level that you have for that person, it's very tenuous. Because if that person, if a woman finds herself, with somebody who's making $500K, and you value him at that, you give him
Because
all,
right,
because he's making 500K.
right.
If he's a Wall Street, stock market guy, and the stock market crash and that he loses his job, do you not value him the same way you did
Because
at K? And I think a lot of people do now. I think a lot of people's relationships are based on financial value. Like, what can
It's
you
very
do for me
conditional.
financially? It's
very
it's very
you're
it's
right.
very conditional.
Hmm.
There's a lack of unconditional
That's on both
love
sides.
within, regardless, and on both ends, for men and women.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of men who believe that, if this woman isn't cooking every day for me, and a freak in the sheets every day, then I don't need to give her the same respect as a wife that I would, otherwise, or whatever you want to say. So that's
Hmm.
how I think, like, a situation like that can go south, is because, that person, if that person's like, well, I'm the breadwinner now, so,
Right.
I can't look at you like a husband. Like, if I got to keep telling you, I'm the bread. If you got to keep telling somebody you're the breadwinner, like, after a while, that person's going to be like,
Okay.
like, I don't care. Like,
Right.
like, I don't care. So
Right.
it's a very tenuous thing. So, I get what you're saying about, like, not giving
That
up on
part.
people.
That
Right.
part. Yeah.
I would say men would say the same thing to
I
women.
mean, it sparked a whole nother conversation, which is
Right.
good, but that's where I was going with it more
I
so.
would
But
say
I like this.
men would like the same thing. Like,
Hmm.
we want women to not give up on us, because from a communication level, women just communicate differently than men.
Yeah.
And so it's always no matter how much you love somebody, at some point, it's going to be like this, because as a man, we think one way. The majority of men, I think, have, like, you could argue they have, like, a very similar thought process, and
Hmm.
women, we don't all think alike, but there's a process, there's a like a processing to it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, we would ask the same thing, but I'm always curious to know how as a man, we can be more of an ally to, especially our black women, because, not that I don't love, human beings in general, but,
Yeah.
black women need love, man. Y'all are you can be very marginalized at times, and,
Hmm.
it sucks.
Absolutely.
You don't,
And
It
you
is.
guys don't get as much credit as you should get. You, as you said, you're compared to other, races, and,
other
it's
groups.
tough. Yeah, other groups,
Hmm.
and, you're either looked at as not valued as worth, or just as a sexual object. I mean, there's a whole
Right.
spectrum that you guys have to deal with, you know, that we don't, as men, don't have, black men don't have to deal with. And then on top of that, you got to deal with a lot of things that we do. So it's tough. And
Exactly.
I appreciate you, taking the time. And I'm pretty sure you're communicating this to the young women
Yeah.
that, you deal with, because, I mean, it's tough. Like, I keep trying to tell my stepdaughters now, man, like, high school is just the tip of the iceberg, man.
Right?
Like,
I
this,
mean, it's different than when we were, like it's just this whole generation is different.
I can't
Yeah.
even imagine. I can't even
It's
imagine having social
I
media
laugh
when I was
about
in
it.
high school.
No, I laugh about that mess. I
It's
so much, like, these kids in social media, and then on top of that, one thing I think someone's got to acknowledge screen addiction is something that's really, we got to address that,
But you
because
know
it
what
just
though? Can I say this? Can I say this about screen addiction? Because my friend brought this up. Because we were talking about our kids,
go
and
ahead.
yeah.
he has a how old is she? Six, the 6-year old stepdaughter, and I have
Yeah.
my twin girls and my son.
Yes.
And he was like, at first, I was really worried about the screen addiction, but then I remember, like,
Hmm.
when I was young, I would watch a lot of TV. So, like, it's really no different than what we grew up with. Like, it's a little different. It's more different now because they can take it with them.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
worse than that now, and I'll explain why. But
But
go ahead.
but I understand. But I know what you mean. I mean, like, just being on it it's a lot more frequent. But I remember watching a lot of TV when I was younger. I watch a lot of TV now.
Uh,
So I'll explain why I think it's
Go
way
ahead.
worse. Okay, you're not wrong that we didn't have our own version to some degree. But one, especially for me, I know I'm a little bit older. At some point, particularly if you did not have cable, I remember at the point where if you didn't do cable, TV stopped.
Dude, we're the same. We're not that old. You're not that much older than us. Like, why are you talking to us like you're like 15 years older than us?
I'm just saying that's the truth.
Same thing.
I'm saying
I remember the flag waving that night too. I remember that.
And that's the big point. So it's like, yeah, cable, and even cable wasn't 24/7 unless you had HBO. So with that in mind, now you've got 24/7 access to
that's fair.
Streaming services, on top of the fact that social media is engineered to keep you engaged. It is there totally. They're beginning with Facebook all the way into all these other ones. The idea is to keep you engaged as much as possible. And then on top of that, because it's algorithm based, it's driven by engagement. So if the negative thing is the thing that's keeping you engaged, guess what? It's going to keep pushing up. Those things that are in place. And the algorithm doesn't sleep.
No,
once it's out there, it is running rampant. And first I almost took a picture today, and I was going to blur out the faces to show you my morning just to get these kids. I'm looking, and I counted. I had about 26 kids. 23 of them. 23 all on their screens right before before I start to play the announcements in the morning. 23 kids, phones, faces, just going. TikTok, IG, text messages, you name it, streaming, watching something on Netflix, on HBO, whatever you have it. And then it's thing, and you have to remember they've grown up with this.
Right.
Now, if you are a parent who stayed engaged with your kids, you have offered them options, and you have been active in that involvement, and you have limited that time. You've given them other things to entertain themselves with. You've read to them, and whatever you've done. Then it's a little bit different, and it's not quite as bad. We didn't grow up with it from day to day. We were the first ones to start engaging with this. So we can put it down to some degree. These kids have come up from the womb, and mom and daddy handed them that phone when they got tired. They didn't want to hear them screaming no more.
Yep.
I give my son an iPad. Hey, man. Hey. But once again, as a parent, and I'm speaking as a parent, and Taisha can probably go along with me. If social media existed back then, our parents would have gave us an iPad too. You know what I mean? Like when I was younger. So what I'm saying is, hold on. What I'm saying is, when I was younger, if I wasn't watching TV, I was reading comic books, right? But because there was no other option. There was no other option until Nintendo came along.
That was our thing.
And even Nintendo
gaming.
Right. Like even Nintendo had like limits. Like at some point you beat the game and you're like, all right, well, what am I gonna do? So
I don't sleep.
Right. Now it's different. Now games go forever.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's something to like understanding that there was always something that caught children's attention. Right. You know what I mean? And so like even my son, he might get on the iPad for a little bit, but then he'll be like, Daddy, come play with me, or he'll start playing with his cars or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a certain amount of limiting. There's a certain amount of limiting.
They're right there when you just mentioned it.
Yeah, but at some point, there's going to be a point where he's just not gonna. It's just not gonna like he's gonna want to be on the phone. But I mean, like I think, yes, it's a bad thing, but I think we have to realize like it's just different. It's just a different time, and we're never going to go back. We're never going back. So the best we could do is the best we can do.
I think that you can't go back. Like we can't put it back in a bottle. But I
No, the
do think
bottle is broken.
yes,
The bottle is
but you
broken.
still gotta approach things. That's what I'm saying. Is you gotta
No, I
approach it
agree.
from a way. As you just said, your son sits here. He isn't. You are engaged with him. I've sat there
Not
and like
always.
even when me and you've had conversations and your son is right there and you are playing with your son while we're sitting here having this conversation. And that's because you are engaged with your son. This is what you do. That you put in that time and effort into him. There are parents that aren't doing that. They are letting the box raise the child. And as I've said again, the box has been designed not to stop. So I think it goes into where you parent, they have to do more of what you're doing. They have to do more. They have to see what they can do outside of that box and give them as many options outside of it. Because
But what
the
I'm
difference
saying
between
is that
everything you said,
it's not gonna matter.
TV,
Like once you hit a certain age, it don't matter no more. That's all I'm saying. That's because it's a different time. Like I can do that now with Junior.
Mm-hmm.
But like once he hits like 13, 14, 15, and because we give our kids phones because we track them now. Like we want to track them, like I can't even imagine having a phone at 13. Like you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I was just
man,
talking to my daughters
dude.
today. I was talking to my daughters today about how I'd be on the bus.
Man, we had beepers, but it was like,
Man, I had a beeper for like a month.
I
I had a beeper for 1 month. And my mom I saw the bill and I ain't had no money. So I ain't paid for the bill and I just shut it off. And that beeper just sat in the drawer. There ain't no beeper no more. But I did want to talk about something because you have a side hustle.
Okay.
You have another side hustle.
yes.
So let's talk about the other side hustle. Hold on. Let's talk about the other side hustle.
So more life. Oh snap! Look at the picture.
Let's talk about the other side hustle.
Yes. So it's called More Life Holistic LLC. I take great pride in that because it's something that I've been taking before it became like a fad, so to speak. Because I feel like once COVID hit, everybody was like selling CMOS.
Really?
And I don't knock anyone's hustle. Like, get it how you get it. But what I think some problems arose is when people started selling fake CMOS. And that's a problem.
How do you make fake CMOS?
They were getting it from like third world countries. And it wasn't real. Like
Okay.
I don't know how they make genetically everything. So they were able to make fake CMOS and sell it, and people weren't educated enough to know the difference. So people started selling fake CMOS, people were getting sick. And then it just kind of died off. I mean, there's still people out there that do make it and that it's authentic. But I've been taking CMOS for years, and once COVID hit, I was like, wow, like, let me start educating my people on this and how the importance of it and what it does to the body. Because like I said, I have been taking it already. That's the CMOS soap actually that I make. I make CMOS gummies and stuff. So I have a distributor from St. Lucia, and I have a distributor from Jamaica. And they're two totally different textures. Like people can tell the difference. Like I have a backup and I have my base. Like my base is St. Lucia and my backup is my Jamaica. And people can tell the difference of the texture of it. They're both great, but I personally like St. Lucia just because it's just different. It's like very smooth. It gels up quicker. It blends differently. And people that take CMOS will know what I mean when I say that. Like it blends differently.
So you gotta tell, because I don't understand. I don't know what CMOS does. Like what is it for?
I have no idea.
Because I see you selling it, but I'm like, are people they drinking it because it tastes good, or is this for something?
It definitely doesn't taste good. But
I thought it's terrible, actually.
it doesn't taste. It honestly doesn't taste like anything. But sea moss, it does. Yep. It it's like for me it's more holistic. Like it's a natural thing for the body. Like
So it's like a
it's
medicine.
yeah, it can be. It can be taken as such. It's not something that's prescribed, obviously. It's from the ocean. That's exactly what it looks like. Should look like. And like a lot of people that I've like customers that have been sick or have like high cholesterol that have taken it. I have like I always like I try to post some of my reviews like on my page, like this is real stuff. Like their cholesterol numbers have dropped significantly. A lot of people that have stuff like built up mucus in their body, they've told me that it just like it comes up. So the sea moss, it like cleanses the body naturally.
Okay.
Like it helps with getting rid of toxins and mucus in your body. I wouldn't say that it's the cure to what's going on in your body, but
This is
it
one thing to
definitely,
help.
absolutely, it's a major thing that helps if you
think
take it consistently.
I think my aunt makes it too. I'm almost certain my aunt
She
makes sea moss.
probably does. I mean,
so
you really have to know how to make. You have to know how to make it. So you just can't get sea moss, and you got to know how to clean it. That's one of the most important things is cleaning it, because like it comes from the ocean, so it has rocks, it has like debris and stuff from the ocean. You have to clean it. You can't just get sea moss, wash it off, blend it, and then take it. No, there's a process to it.
Okay.
So
how can people get this from you, or is this like?
So I currently, we gotta coordinate with the
I'm
website.
just saying,
But
listen, my phone number hasn't changed. I'm right here. Like,
I know, but I do have
and
social
I can do it
media.
real quick too.
I know that one should be quick because it's seamless. It's not
You could literally do one website and it could go from Perfectly Imperfekt to seamless. Okay, we'll work it out.
We're gonna connect for sure.
We're gonna work
Definitely. I have a social media presence on Instagram that I use. I don't have a website, but the social media page is called More Life. It's MOR. Do you have it?
No. What is it?
It's MORELIFE. One word, More Life, and then Holistic LLC, and that's it's on Instagram. But the Instagram page is More Life 0916.
What is it?
More Life.
Hold on. More Life.
More Life. Oh no, I'm 0916, and that's on
0916.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So if you're watching and you want to get that sea moss, go to Instagram, get it, and very soon she's gonna have a website, y'all. I'm telling you, I've been bothering her about this for like a year, like a year now. I've been bothering her about getting a website to put all her Perfectly Imperfekt pictures up, so where she can sell her T-shirts and get all that stuff. It's not hard.
And I do have a page for the Perfectly Imperfekt page. It's Perfect PERFEKT 146. That's the Instagram page for the girls circle stuff.
Okay, all right. So if you didn't get that, that's where it is right there, Instagram. And we gonna break Instagram getting our Perfectly Imperfekt T-shirts.
They're both business pages, so
and our sea moss. I don't know if I'm gonna take sea moss. I don't think so.
I'm gonna get you. It's not. It don't taste like nothing. It doesn't.
You just told. Wait. Hold up. You just told us that it don't taste good.
No, I'm saying it doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't taste bad. It just has like I don't know, like a bland taste. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Like it's
okay. All right, so you're a busy person, so we try not to keep people too long. But before we go, we like to do something fun.
Okay.
Once again, I'm pretty sure we got people on here that haven't watched the show before. But for those that don't know, I do a show called Top 5 Live every Monday, and we will pick a topic and we will come up with our top 5 lists. Each of us will have a list, and we usually argue with each other about it, and we make fun of each other's lists, but we do it all in fun. And I like to do it here, but we don't make fun of people here. It's just for fun. I'm not gonna. Trust me. If you come on Top 5 Live, I can't promise you anything.
Totally different story.
It's totally different story.
Hey, I might have to come on that. I'll be cracking jokes.
Listen. No, like those episodes of last year.
Jamari's been on the show.
They gave me the okie doke the first time.
We didn't give you the okie doke. You gave yourself the okie doke. Anywho,
see, that's one of those where I should have trusted my instinct and was like, I should have bowed out of that one because I should have paid
attention to what I said.
I did not understand the assignment.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this on the show. We're not doing this. All right. So now I know you for a long time, and I know you like to travel.
Yeah.
So give me your top 5 favorite travel destinations.
Number 1, Cuba.
Okay.
Barbados.
Okay.
Mexico.
Okay.
Jamaica.
Okay.
And I haven't been here, but I would love to go to Costa Rica.
Oh, nice. All right, let me see. For mine, it was I think number 1 was oh crap. What's the name of the place? We went there on our honeymoon. It was in Mexico. It was in Mexico. I can't remember the name of the place. My wife's gonna kill me. But it was in Mexico.
You better remember that.
We were literally on like a cliff. Acapulco. Yes, Acapulco. Okay. That was beautiful. That's my number 1. I would go back there in a heartbeat. Number 2 was Tahiti. I love Tahiti.
I want to go there.
That was really nice. Number 3 was Jamaica. I like going to Jamaica. That was nice. We've been twice. I liked going to California. I know it was here, but I liked going to California. That was really nice.
Dope. That was dope.
And then honestly, I've been there a couple times, but the one time I went and I was able to like really, really do stuff was Miami. I like Miami. That's my top 5 that I've been to. Now the places that I want to go, actually, you know what? I take that back. I take California off. I went to DR. DR was nice.
Okay.
DR was real nice. I went for a wedding. That was real nice. But you can keep Miami on.
Okay.
Jamari, do you have one?
So these are places you've been.
These are places I've been.
Okay, because I've never been to any place with all the nice sandy beaches and all of that. So for me, it's going to be places that are.
That's fine. Hey, man, travel is travel, dude.
I love London.
Travel.
London.
I've never been to London.
I've never been to London.
That was one of the coolest places I've ever been in my life. Spending a couple of days there, and just England in general was pretty fucking awesome. Busan. Okay. Busan is a cool city because Seoul is great. Seoul will always be that like, wow, so huge. It is massive international city, great. But you get down to that coast of Busan, and like you kind of want to stay there for a minute. It's definitely different.
Okay. That's
it has
2. Or was that 3? Was that 2 or 3?
2.
You said London.
2.
Okay, you said London and Busan.
LA, just a little bit of LA I got to see.
California is really nice.
It is.
Yeah, like it's nice. One of the things that the only way, like I think I could live there, but I would definitely have to change like my lifestyle in the sense of
I can't live there.
A lot of money.
It's too much driving. It's too much driving in California.
You're not wrong.
It's too much driving. Too much.
I love DC. especially DC in the summer.
Yeah.
DC in the summer is so great.
We did DC. We went to DC in the spring for our anniversary once. And it was really nice. Well, May is not really May is kind of borderline with summer. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's that? 4?
4. So where else have I been that stuck with me? Because all these places, they either have a distinct memory tied to them. I'm gonna say Seoul, just because Seoul is such, like, it's one of the best. It's one of the worst and best kept secrets of Asia, because people hear about it and it gets compared, because everyone wants Japan, Tokyo, and everything else, but Seoul is so distinct, and you spend enough time and go to the right places, Seoul sticks with you too. So I'm gonna throw Seoul in there.
Now you said Cuba. You're like part Cuban, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're Cuban in what?
About that.
You're Cuban in Jamaica?
Huh?
Are you Cuban in Jamaica?
Nope. Yes.
What are you? Huh?
Yes.
You said yes or yes?
You said nope, then yes.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm Cuban and Cuban.
One of my good friends is Cuban.
Okay, all right. I've never been to Cuba. I was told that it's not time to go right now.
Probably not now.
But that was like last year or 2 years ago. Somebody was like, "Yeah, it's probably that time to go." So I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me it's okay to go. So,
I mean, I don't know. Right now, it's I think it's more because of COVID related.
Okay.
Not anything to do like with other,
Now your dad is Cuban, right? Is it your dad?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think
dad,
he's
right?
on here. Yeah.
There it is.
I got to shout out your dad, because your dad joined the group, so I had to give him a little shout out.
Is he on here?
He might be. I think he said hi on the thing. So if Daddy's there, hi Dad. I know I've seen he's a big influence on you, and you're. I know you're a daddy's girl. That's okay.
I am.
So I have a question.
I'm a mama's boy, so
I need embarrassing info. I need growing up. One good growing up story on this man.
Oh, I think that's Dad right there.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't know if Taisha has any old stories of me.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we grew up together. We went to high school, but I don't recall any. I'm trying to think of like bus stop stories.
I know, that's the only time we hung out. Right. Like we always were walking on that.
Something fun or interesting.
We were always honestly, I don't think there's a lot. We just Taisha and I would just walk to the same bus stop. And we talk walking to the bus stop, but we didn't have classes together.
Or nothing. No.
I don't even think we had lunch together or anything.
We weren't in the same lunch wave.
Yeah, because
my lunch wave was out of control.
Yeah, Taisha was 1 year behind me, so we didn't have a lot of classes together.
I got you.
I mean, she ran with a lot of the same people that I hung out with, which is crazy. Like our cliques or whatever you want to call it, like Milton and all the dudes. She would hang out with them, and I hung out with my boy Milton. Shout out Milton and Winston. But yeah, it was just hanging at the bus. Outside of that picture,
I
can't believe that you got that.
Because I have another picture, because we took the same bus. For those that don't know, real quick,
A1.
What was it?
Was it the A1?
I don't even know. I was trying to figure that out.
Hillside. It was Hillside Park Street. It was like the A bus, I think, or something. Something like that.
When she ordered from different places and had the cops.
When she ordered from different places and had the cops come playing on the
What?
Who is that?
I don't know. Who is that?
No, excuse me. They asked about Javon, not me. Who giving it up? Who
somebody.
Who said that?
I don't know. It says Facebook user. Okay, all right.
Who is that?
I don't know.
All right, so I'm gonna tell on myself. So I was a rebel. I'm still a rebel, but when I was like what? I think I was like 14, 13. Me and
you with Lisa?
Me and Lisa, that's my father. He's telling.
Dad
So
coming through with the
now you're
embarrassing
going against
story.
the grain. You're going against the grain. No, me and her, I think it was me and Lisa. We ordered pizza from like all these different restaurants, and we had them delivered to different people. I don't know how we ended up getting caught, but my father was actually coming home from work, and the police got called, and it was just not good.
Wow.
Yeah, we
They
were
called the
like,
police on
knock
you?
knock, like knock knock zoom zooms, but we was doing like pizza knock knock zoom zoom.
Pizza. Nah.
We just have the pizza delivered to, just ordering stupid shit like calzones, whatever, and having them just delivered to people's addresses. We got caught.
Nah, I mean, so what I was gonna say before is like if you didn't live like within like walking distance, like there are a lot of people. You were in classical, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like classical magnet, you could live outside the district and go to that school. Like I lived in I lived on Baltic Street in Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you?
I was on Park Terrace.
Okay.
So I was still, yeah.
Yeah, you were close though. You were closer than I was. But like you would take the bus downtown Hartford and then take a bus from downtown Hartford to wherever you was going.
Right.
So like you would like mobs of students would get on that bus.
Everybody, even like Weaver, we were all downtown, but we would split up and take our bus to
So
school.
like it's like a hub. Like downtown would be a hub for like all the kids to basically converge, and then and I remember I spent a lot of time downtown because that's when they had like Saberos was down there, and the Civic Center and all that. Like
Civic Center,
so after a while, like the same people, you find yourself walking to the bus stop with different people, all the time, and I don't know how, but you and I always had like the same like route, the same time frame of getting to the bus stop. It would be me, Winston, and Milton. I'll tell you, we used to do whatever. I tell people. See, I used to sing a lot in high school. A lot. Because everybody would ask me to sing.
Like a Jamar.
I used to sing a lot, like no joke. Like that was
I know this.
That was the thing that I used to be known for. So I would do a lot of like, it is really corny now, but whatever. Like I'm 40. I can say this stuff. It's all right. I'm married with kids. It's okay. We used to like sing on in the back of the bus, like Tyrese style. So it'd be like,
yeah, I did. I remember that.
So it'd be like me, it'd be Milton. Who else was it? Ty used to do it. Ty was there. Ty Waterman.
Waterman, yep.
Ty Waterman. Yeah, I'm gonna call you out. You used
Is
to
he
sing.
on here?
He might not be on here, but he might watch it later. Was it Gerard? Was Gerard on the bus too singing? I know it was a bunch of us. We used to sing battle.
Yeah, in the back of the bus.
Like we would just sing like on the back of the bus, like it was a Coca-Cola commercial. So
like Tyrese, yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that was me back then. I've retired from singing, so the only time
I remember that other picture too. I had on like a red and white striped shirt. Is that the one?
Yes, I got that somewhere.
That.
I got it somewhere.
I got it.
Crazy. You said don't post that one. No, I got two other pictures of you. I think I do because one you're wearing a jacket.
I look crazy. Oh, I am.
I think you're wearing. Yeah, but you had.
I remember
you had
that
Aaliyah one.
Yeah,
you were always rocking like the midriff, that 90s midriff. Always.
Yep. That was my thing.
Yeah. So it was cool catching up, and we appreciate you coming on the show. We're not gonna hold you.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Oh, absolutely. So next time you do something, you have an event or whatever, something you want to put forward, please reach out to me.
I'm working on that events and, like I said, the journal. So
yep, we will.
I want to hear more about your incoming success. I've really enjoyed hearing about what you've been up to, and this is just cool. That's one of my favorite things about doing this is having these conversations with people, and it always ends up being so inspiring.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We definitely gonna have you back on.
Okay, I have something.
I have something in mind for my female entrepreneurs for this show that I'm working on. It should be in like June or July. So
Okay.
everybody look out for it. We're gonna do something really interesting. But yes, thank you everybody once again. Let me make sure I get the information. If you want to learn more about Perfectly Imperfekt, get t-shirts. Can they reach out to you to do like workshops and stuff too here?
Absolutely.
Instagram, perfect with a K 146. Please reach out, support. And then for the CMOS, more life 0916. Please support because that's what we do here. And yes, thank you again. I do
Thank you
have
for everyone for coming on. I don't know who's on here. I can't
yes.
see you, but
Thank
all my
you.
friends and my family.
If you spend any time watching, feel free to tell everybody, that they can watch this show again if they missed it at visuallystoked.com. You can go there. You go to social and podcasts, and it's right there. You can watch previous episodes. And I'm supposed to do one more thing. I wrote this down. Yes. Next week's guest is a good friend of mine, Dora Avila. She will be
Okay,
talking.
Dora.
Oh, you know Dora? Dang,
No,
Connecticut's so small.
I
I
don't.
was about to
I'm
say.
just shouting her out though.
I was going to say, Dora Avila, founder and owner of Muscular Puzzles Therapy. She's going to come on and we're going to talk about, taking care of your body and things like that.
That's important. Very important.
Oh yeah. And then one last announcement. Very soon, and it's not up yet. I'm still waiting for the Kickstarter to approve it. But I will be doing a Kickstarter for another book, another character. I know you guys know me from Heat, but this one was inspired by my daughters because I wanted to give them their superhero that they can look up to. So
that's dope.
here we go. If you didn't watch Top 5 Live, then you missed it. So I'm gonna do it again.
Okay.
This is the character. Her name is Strong. She's an Afro-Latina superhero. She is the strongest superhuman in existence, and we're doing a 0 issue. I will be doing a Kickstarter for it. Hopefully next week I'll have more information on it. But if you want to learn more about it, I'm definitely going to be doing a launch Kickstarter for it. So please support me on it so I can get this book out. If you're looking for this will be all ages. There's no like gratuitous sexual nothing. This is something that you can give to every young boy or young girl, whoever. You can give to anybody. They'll find something they'll like for it. But yes, Strong, number 0. So be on the lookout for that. And like I said, join us next week. And thank you again, Taisha Blue, Jacqueline. Be messing me up because I'll be like, who the heck is like, who the heck is this? But thank you once again. And we'll have you on. And we appreciate you and the work you're doing with Perfectly Imperfekt.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye.